Two men live on the same street in a wealthy suburb of London, but their lives are governed by two completely different math equations. On the surface, they look like equals. They live in the same zip code, walk the same leafy streets, and shop at the same high-end grocers. But if you could peel back the curtain on their bank accounts, you'd see two men heading in opposite directions. One is building a fortress of long-term security. The other is building a fragile house of cards that a single bad month could blow down. The first man, Mark, drives a Ferrari 812 superfast. The engine screams status every morning, demanding that the neighbors look at him. Mark believes that wealth is a performance. To him, if people don't see it, it doesn't exist. Every time he downshifts that V12 engine, he isn't just burning fuel, he's burning the capital that could have bought his freedom. He is trapped in a cycle of needing applause. His net worth is leaking out of his exhaust pipe. The second man, Ronald, drives a 2018 Toyota Camry. It is clean, silent, and to the untrained eye, completely invisible. Ronald doesn't view his car as a trophy. He views it as a tool. While Mark is worried about the latest ceramic coating, Ronald is busy thinking about his asset allocation. His car doesn't turn heads, and that's exactly how he wants it. He isn't interested in looking like he has money. He's interested in actually having it. Most people look at the Ferrari and see wealth, but they are victims of a visual lie. We've been trained by movies and social media to equate spending with wealth. But what most people call wealth is often just expensive consumption, because every dollar you spend stops working for you. Every dollar spent on luxury is a dollar you no longer own. The Ferrari isn't proof he is rich. It's proof that he had money, and now he has a car instead. Meanwhile, the quiet guy you ignored is doing something very different. As Dave Ramsey famously said, we buy things we don't need, with money we don't have, to impress people we don't like. This is the great social delusion. We sacrifice our real freedom for the approval of strangers, people who aren't even paying attention. We are so busy trying to look like we've made it, that we forget to actually make it. We trade our peace of mind for shallow likes from people who would forget us in a heartbeat. Wealth is not the car you see. Wealth is the $300,000 that didn't go into that car, sitting silently in a compounding fund instead. True wealth is invisible. The unspent dollar, the silent brokerage account, the power to say no to a job you hate, freedom from a boss you despise. Mark's wealth is visible and shrinking. Ronald's wealth is hidden and growing. The silent, unbreakable foundation. This is exactly what I mean when I talk about the definition of hidden. We have been socially engineered to confuse spending with wealth, but they are actually opposites. Think of your money like a battery. Spending is when you use the energy. Wealth is the stored charge. Society rewards the person who drains their battery fastest. To put on a light show, the person who keeps the charge is the only one with power. When the lights go out, you cannot have the money and the stuff at the same time. Every dollar you spend is energy lost forever. Only stored energy keeps you truly empowered. If you see someone spend $50,000 on a luxury watch, you only know one thing. They have $50,000 less than they had an hour ago. We look at the wrist and think rich, but the reality is that $50,000 is now gone from their net worth. That money isn't working anymore. It's no longer earning interest. It's no longer buying them time. It's just sitting there, just a piece of jewelry on a wrist. And every new model makes the old one worth less. The watch is a signal, but the signal has a price, and that price is freedom. Rich is what you see. It's the transient flash of designer clothes and first-class tickets. Rich means you can spend a lot right now, but spending everything you earn keeps you running in place. You can be rich today and broke tomorrow. Wealth is what remains after the spending stops. Real wealth is the iceberg beneath the water, but wealth is the capital that hasn't been converted into stuff yet. It is the unspent dollar. Every dollar you save becomes a worker. That worker never sleeps, but every time you spend money, you fire one of those workers. The wealthy simply keep more workers, and over time, that army becomes financial freedom. Because one day, your army works so you don't have to. Seneca, the Roman philosopher, warned us, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor. Poverty isn't just about a lack of money. It's a state of mind where you are never enough. If you have $10 million, but you feel you need 20 to be happy, wealth is the gap between what you have and what you want. The smaller the want, the wealthier you become instantly. This is why humans are programmed to chase visible wealth. Why is it so hard to be wealthy? Because humans are biologically wired to chase status inside the tribe. For thousands of years, survival depended on where you stood in the social hierarchy. Today, our brains haven't caught up to our bank accounts. We replace the campfire with the Instagram feed, but the instinct is still the same. It's easy to find a role model for spending. You only have to open Instagram or walk through a mall. We are bombarded by the high life. We see the private jets, the gold leaf steaks, and the unboxing videos of $10,000 handbags. These are loud signals designed to be seen, because their entire value relies on your envy. We are being programmed to believe that the point of money is to show people how much we have. It is almost impossible to find a role model for real wealth, because people we see online are usually showing wealth, not quietly building it. The truly wealthy are usually invisible. You never see the millions quietly sitting inside index funds. You never see compound interest quietly working at 3 o'clock a.m. Real wealth is the absence of the need to prove anything. It might be the man in the 10-year-old sweater who could buy the entire store, but he finds the idea of proving it exhausting and unnecessary. You cannot see a paid-off mortgage. You also cannot see a $2 million brokerage account, because real wealth often lives quietly inside digital vaults. But our eyes are drawn to visible spending. So we begin to believe money spent is money owned. But every dollar spent is a dollar no longer owned. The invisible millionaire enjoys something very different. They find more joy in a spreadsheet than a showroom, because the spreadsheet represents real ownership. And that quiet ownership is what actually creates safety. We are fighting an urge to show off our harvest today, even when it's smarter to replant the seeds for tomorrow. This is the ultimate test of character, delayed gratification. Will you eat the seed today to stop the hunger for status, or plant it and starve your ego for a moment so you can own the entire orchard in a decade? Most choose the meal. The wealthy choose the orchard. The salary trap. When looking rich keeps you broke. Consider Mark. He earns $45,000 a month as a marketing VP. To the world, he is the definition of a winner. Mark is the guy everyone at the high school reunion is jealous of. He has the title, the corner office, and the lifestyle that matches his paycheck. But Mark is living in a gilded cage built of his own expectations. He is a high earner, but he is a low accumulator of actual wealth. Kevin O'Leary once said, "A salary is the drug your employer gives you to forget your dreams." A high salary creates a high floor for your expenses. You start to believe the $45,000 will last forever. You stop taking risks. You stop building your own assets. The monthly deposit becomes addictive. You aren't working for freedom. You're working for the next dose. Every month, $40,000 of Mark's income disappears into the cost of looking the part. Mark doesn't buy a Ferrari because he loves Italian engineering. He buys it because he's a VP, and VPs drive Ferraris. He pays the prestige tax on his mortgage, his clothes, and his social club. He is running a massive engine. It requires every cent of that $45,000 just to stay in neutral. Mark is rich. Everyone knows he has money, but he has no margin. Margin is the gap between your ego and your income. Mark's ego and income are touching. If his car breaks down, the system starts to crack. If a pipe bursts, the pressure rises. If his bonus drops, even 10%, the entire system begins to crack. Visually rich, financially fragile, no sleep at night. Mark is exactly one board meeting away from insolvency. He doesn't own his life, he leases his lifestyle. If the board decides to go in a different direction, Mark's world collapses in 30 days. He has no runway. He has spent 20 years building a monument to himself, only to realize he doesn't own the land it stands on. He is a slave to the paycheck, because the paycheck is the only thing keeping the illusion alive. Now meet the janitor, who secretly built an $8 million fortune. Consider the story of Ronald Read. He was a janitor and a gas station attendant for his entire working life. He spent 25 years sweeping floors, another 17 years pumping gas. A man the world looked past. But Ronald was playing a much bigger game. He lived in a small house. He drove a used car. He wore a flannel jacket, held together by safety pins. Ronald didn't have a lifestyle to maintain. He didn't care about brands. A jacket was for warmth. A car was for transport. When he died at age 92, the world was shocked to find his net worth was $8 million. His neighbors were stunned. How could a janitor leave behind a fortune? The answer was consistency. He didn't win the lottery. He mastered invisible wealth, letting time do the work. Compound interest was the power. He didn't need a high salary, just a long time and a lack of ego. His money made more money. He spent like a janitor, but he invested like a titan. He chose freedom over the applause of strangers. He left millions to charity, his local library, his local hospital. He was the owner of his life. This is the hidden price of looking successful. There is a heavy invisible cost to being noticed by the world. We call it the status tax. Most people think taxes are only paid to the government, but the status tax is paid to your social circle. It is the mandatory spending required to keep people thinking you are doing well. It is an invisible drain on your wealth, and it grows heavier the more you try to impress others. Once you show the world you are rich, the world begins to expect you to stay that way forever. Once you buy the big house, you have to throw the big parties. Once you drive the fancy car, you have to wear the fancy clothes. You are no longer spending for your own joy. You are spending to fulfill the invisible contract, the contract you signed with the public. Your friends expect expensive dinners. Your neighbors expect a perfectly manicured lawn and a new car every 3 years. The people around you use your spending as a benchmark for their own. If you stop spending, they think you're failing. This social friction quietly keeps millions of people broke. They are more afraid of their neighbor's judgment than they are of being bankrupt at age 70. Wealthy people, the truly free ones, avoid the status tax by choosing a different path. They choose to stay completely below the radar. By looking average, you regain your privacy and your capital. Ronald Read was never asked for a loan. He didn't want to give. He was never expected to pay for everyone's dinner. He lived in the most effective tax haven on earth, anonymity. In a world that screams for attention, silence is the ultimate tax haven. When nobody knows how much you have, nobody can tell you how to spend it. Silence buys you the rarest commodity on earth, the ability to walk away from any situation without a single financial worry. That is the ultimate invisible flex. This is the simple math that quietly creates millionaires. Let's stop talking about feelings and start looking at the cold, hard numbers of the invisible. Most people make financial decisions based on emotion and vibes, but wealth is a math problem. To solve it, you have to stop looking at the monthly payment and start looking at the total opportunity cost. You have to see the money that isn't there. A $1,000 a month luxury car payment, if invested over 30 years, at a modest 7% becomes $1.2 million. Look at that number, $1.2 million. That is the price of the Ferrari status. Mark isn't just paying $1,000 a month. He is setting fire to $1 million retirement fund just so he can sit in heated leather seats today. That is the math of a slave. That invisible $1.2 million is the exact difference between retiring at age 45 or working until you are 70. People ask, how did Ronald Read do it? This is how. He didn't have a high salary. He just didn't have a car payment. He traded the look of success for the reality of time. He bought his own freedom, one unspent $1,000 bill at a time. Millions of people sacrifice 25 years of their actual life just to drive a piece of metal that loses 20% of its value instantly. We are trading our life force, our limited hours on this earth, for depreciating assets. We are literally working ourselves to death to impress people we don't even like. When you see it through the lens of math, the luxury car starts to look like a prison cell on wheels. This is why choosing invisible wealth feels so uncomfortable. Choosing to be invisible is a lonely path. At first, it requires a thick skin. When you stop participating in the status game, people will judge you. They will think you're cheap or that you've lost your edge. You have to be okay with being the only person in the room who knows they are a millionaire while everyone else is just pretending. Your family will inevitably ask why you haven't upgraded your house yet. They think you are failing. This is the hardest part. The people you love will push you to spend because they want you to enjoy your success, but they don't see the roots you are growing underground. Your friends will wonder why you aren't at the restaurant. You will have to say no to things that look fun in the moment but drain your future. You will have to be the boring friend. But while they are posting photos of their $200 steaks, you are silently buying shares of the companies that own the restaurants. You have to reach a point where you value your own freedom more than the fleeting opinion of people you don't even like. This is the psychological breakthrough. True wealth requires the ego to die so that the bank account and your future can finally live. You cannot have a big ego and a big bank account at the same time for very long. The wealthy choose to kill the ego early so that their money has the space it needs to grow into a forest of security. Let's talk about the moment everything changes. The goal isn't to live a small, restricted life. It's to live a big life that nobody else knows about. People think invisible wealth means being a miser. It means having the money to do whatever you want, whenever you want. It's the luxury of a private life, a calm mind, and a schedule that belongs entirely to you. When you stop spending to impress, you aren't saving money. you are buying back your own time. Time is the only non-renewable resource we have. You can always make more money, but you can never make more time. Every dollar you keep is a minute of your future that you don't have to sell to a company. You are literally purchasing your own life back from the market. You own your mornings. You own your location. You own your peace of mind. Imagine waking up and not needing to be anywhere. Imagine being able to help a friend in need or travel for a month without asking for a tow. That is the real luxury. A Ferrari can only take you to the office. Wealth can take you anywhere you want to be. That is a luxury that a Ferrari owner with a massive monthly debt can never truly afford. Mark might look free in his car, but he is a prisoner to the next $45,000 paycheck. He is a high-speed hamster in a very expensive wheel. Ronald Read, on his porch in Vermont, was the freer man. He didn't have the look, but he had the reality. The final lesson: if you want real wealth, become invisible. The next time you see a flashy display of wealth, don't be jealous. Be curious about what they don't have. Don't look at the car. Look at the lack of margin. Don't look at the watch. Look at the lack of time. Most of what we see as success is just a giant pile of debt with a shiny coat of paint on top. Once you see the debt shadow, the jealousy disappears. Usually, they lack margin. They lack silence. They lack the ability to walk away. The ability to walk away is the ultimate power move. If you can't walk away from your job today, you aren't wealthy no matter what you drive. True wealth is the quiet confidence of knowing you are safe, regardless of what the economy or the world does next. Real flex isn't a logo on your chest. It's a bank balance that allows you to say no to anything you don't want to do. No is the wealthiest word in the English language. No, I won't work that weekend. No, I won't take that deal. No, I won't sacrifice my values for a check. When you have invisible wealth, no becomes your default setting, and freedom becomes your reality. Stop trying to look rich. Start being wealthy. The world wants you to be a consumer. It wants you to be a slave to the look. Break the cycle. Choose the invisible path. Build the mountain of gold in secret, and let the world think whatever it wants. Your freedom doesn't require their permission, because wealth is what you don't see. As you go about your day, remember Ronald Read. Remember that the most powerful people are often the ones you'd never notice. They are the ones who are truly winning, precisely because they don't feel the need to tell you that they are.